Hey guys, what's going on? We got another Enhancement Shaman PvP video. We are doing some 3v3s as Unholy, Enhanced, and Holy Paladin. Just a quick little thing. I am using the new ring from the Siren Isles. It's decked out with all the stat gems, and it actually works out really well. So if you are interested, I'd recommend grabbing it. But anyways, let's get into this. We are running Elementalist Totemic, so we are doing huge damage. And as you can see by this first match, this one just kind of exploded. Not quite sure what happened, but they must have just been caught off guard. Anyways, let's go. We got Beastmaster Unholy. This is a bit of a, not your typical comp. As you can see, I'm hanging back against any DK. I will hang back. Reason being is I don't want to be gripped in and brought into the massive cleave fest. That's going to happen. Because as everybody knows, DKs like to grip everybody in and cleave them out. So here, we're going to focus on the DK, mainly because chasing a hunter with a DK and a Holy Paladin on the team is nearly impossible to catch them. So our goal is to just beat up the DK as much as possible. It does suck because the Paladin's going to have an easier time healing, but that doesn't mean we can just leave the hunter to do whatever he wants as well. We can hit him, but in this case, we were able to just take out the Unholy DK. It's definitely a real pain to chase after just because Chains of Ice, Death Grip, and Freedoms are all just complete nuisances when you're chasing after somebody. And it makes it almost impossible to catch a hunter. Here, we have the Affliction, Assassination, Holy Priest. As you saw at the start there, I was able to catch the Assassination Rogue with an Earth Grab. It's quite lucky. It ticks I think it's every 1 second it ticks out that has a chance to grip, so makes it quite useful. So our main focus is going to be the Affliction Warlock. That doesn't mean we don't want to hit the Assassination Rogues. As you saw in the opener, he had already used Cloak, so that means 1 defensive down. The Priest is also already used Guardian Angel and Divine Hymn, both pretty heavy cooldowns in my opinion. So I see the Warlock kind of pulling us away, so I back off a little bit, get the Rogue dotted, get him flame lashed, just doing things. Trying to get some damage spread out, make the healer's life a nightmare. So here, the Warlock's starting to burst us. I'm just unable to move because the Rogue is that much of a nuisance. And Plum here is doing a great job at keeping the Warlock on top of his port. Now this is important because it prevents him from being able to port away from us very easily. So if we play on top of his port, it's very easy. And there you saw I was going to go for a Hex, got interrupted. Shook now has free cast, he could probably go for a rep or something, but I'm able to drop a cap totem right before I get kidney shut, get the triple cap off, perfect. Triple CC, that's the way we want to go. So that's the reason why I'm running Cap Totem, is because I have a DK on my team and it adds into the stun. Since he's not playing Frost, we don't really have an AoE stun, so we do have to rely on Cap Totem quite a bit. So here we got Shadow Priest and we got Fury Warrior. Both very powerful comps. Our main focus is going to be shutting down the Shadow Priest. Reason being is he does a lot of damage if left alone. But so does the Fury Warrior. He's definitely a nightmare. But they make a mistake at the end and it does cost them, but everybody makes mistakes. It's not easy. So here we get quite a bit of damage. I'm trying to get a bit of dots on both of them. There's Dispersion, so we're just going to hit the Warrior for a second. No point in hitting into Dispersion, right? Because he's taking a lot less damage. And Plum goes ahead, grips him in. We switch right back into him. I drop a Cap Totem, get a nice double stun. Shook gets feared, so I go for a Hex onto their healer. I didn't have Tremor to get him out of it, so I go for a Hex to get some CC. Here is where they start misplaying. So I believe Void Shift has already been sent or not, I'm not sure. But you'll see here, we get a Void Shift and we start beating up the Priest some more. You can see the healer has not recovered from the Void Shift. So what happens here is they do another Void Shift and it doesn't do anything. So I originally thought they Void Shifted double, but he was actually not healing himself, so he couldn't get the Void Shift, and now they're all stacked up. This is what we want. We want them all stacked up, and then the priest goes behind the pillar and the other priest goes away from the pillar, and lines of sight. So it's like I said, it's a bit unfortunate on their part that they did that. Like it does suck, but it happens. Miscommunication happens a lot in arena, especially when you're doing pug stuff. So here we got another Affliction Assassination. This is probably one of the most common comps we saw. Um, Obviously, we are both anti-casters, so it is a bit easier for us to deal with this. You can see I ate the Warlock kick by putting a lasso on the Rogue because I didn't want him doing too much to Shook and making sure that I'm shutting down some sort of damage, but it also gives Shook the option to cast if he needs it, right? I'm eating a kick. That's perfect. And you can see the Rogue popped evasion. One cooldown gone. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to chase after the Warlock. He's going to port here in a second, as per usual. Plum does a nice grip. There's the port. Okay, now we're back onto the other side of the map. Plum doesn't care. He grips him right back in. I do a cap totem. Perfect timing because the Rogue just used Vanish, so that prevents him from getting too much damage out. Doing those triple Garrets and getting the silences out. So now we have everything we want and we're not too worried here. So we're just going to keep the pressure onto the Warlock. And he's going to port once again. So you can see we Bloodlust, there's the port. Okay, gripped right back in, but we can't slow him because of his buff. There's Undying Resolve. Okay, that's fine. So we're just going to blind, do a bunch of damage, try and bring him down even further and see what we can do. I believe that is the Void Swap right there, so the Affliction's right back to full, and the Rogue here pushes onto Shook as the Affliction Warlock's very far away. So I lasso to try and, you know, lock him down, but nothing, I get interrupted right away. That's fine. Warlock has to come back a little bit, so Plum grips him right back in, and we just start doing a whole bunch more damage to him, and they have nothing left. But he gets port, grip, dead. So it's a lot easier to go after the Affliction Warlock, especially when you have a DK. Now this time we didn't quite play on his port because Shook didn't really have anywhere to go. But yeah, like honestly, we just did so much damage it kind of forced him out. So here is another one. This is probably one of the most annoying comps to fight ever. Boomkin Outlaw. We fought these guys twice. The first match was like a 30-minute match. It was really annoying, but this one was much faster, so I did this. But our main focus is going to be the Boomkin. Our priority kick is going to be Cyclone, and we're going to do everything we can to stop him from cloning. It's very important because clone prevents anything from being done to you, whether that's doing damage, receiving heals, or anything. That's all he wants to cast, and that's all we want to shut down. So you can see I get cloned here. I'm actually just going to sit this because he has defensives up. The Rogue is off to the side, so I'm going to run after him, knock him off Shook, root him in the corner, boom. Go for the Hex. Okay, Rogue is out of the play, but he gets dispelled. Bit unfortunate, but that's to be expected. Now we're going to get back onto the Boomkin. Plum gets cloned. Perfect. That's fine. Not too much is happening here. I get slept, but it breaks because I have Solar Beam on me or whatever this thing is. Lunar Beam, something like that. The Rogue is really after Shook, so we don't have to worry about being cheap shot a whole bunch. We just got to worry about clone. See how he gets precog? I save grounding just for that. Make sure you can't do anything with it. Perfect. So now we're just going to keep on chasing him, doing as much damage as possible. But you can see he's just a Live Lord. Now, as to why he's solar beaming me, I'm not quite sure. I think it might just be some sort of misplay or missed target or something. I don't know. But here, we're just pressuring him. You got to shut down as many clones, no matter what it is, you got to do it. Whether it's lasso, thunderstorm, grip, shear, stun, anything possible. You just got to shut down the clones because they are very, very disruptive. You can't heal, you can't damage, you can't do nothing. But here, we're able to finally take him down because the healer ran away. I lassoed him so he couldn't frenzied regen, and which does a lot of healing. So perfect. Nice. Boomkins, I really hate fighting them. Here we got Frost Fury, which otherwise known as TSG. And you can also see I have Counter-Strike totem. And again, I am playing off to the side. I don't want to get gripped in. I see Plum get set up, so I jump in, get the cap totem down, start doing as much damage as possible to this DK, and I see their damage coming out, so I'm going to go ahead and Counter-Strike. This forces them to kill it, spend a GCD on it, or just hurt themselves the entire time. But yeah, either way, Counter-Strike is really good here, especially if they don't attack it. It even though they killed it pretty quick, it still did quite a lot of damage on my overall. But our main focus is the warrior. Because of intervene, we don't want to have to deal with that. So, and the warrior's going to take a whole lot more damage. I can see his enrage buff, so I went ahead and lassoed, but it trinkets it and cancels it, so that way he can heal himself. Is what it is. But here, Shook gets slept, so I go ahead and tremor right away, making sure he has no time to think about anything. And there's another Counter-Strike, and the DK goes down. But yeah, anyways guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and go and get your Siren Isle rings because they are actually useful. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later. Peace.